Hello guys, this video is part 2 for making this cool glitchy effect that I managed to generate using Glitch Machine on the Cyberpunk 2077 logo. I'm going to show the effect from start in Photoshop to finish in Glitch Machine. I've already downloaded a few logos, so I've got the Cyberpunk logo and some other ones from the game that I'm just going to test out today. So yeah, we start in Photoshop. I've also got Glitch Machine open in the background, but we're not going to touch that just yet. So first things first, I've collected all my logo assets into a group and I'm going to begin applying a layer style to the group. The layer style that you're going to create here is kind of what we're feeding to Glitch Machine to get the output that we want. What I would recommend you do is just follow my exact settings in this video, and then like later on you can experiment with your own layer style or just something a bit different. So the first thing you're going to apply is a color overlay, and it's a really oddly specific color that I'm going to tell you to go for. I will leave the color code in the description, but it's right here, ACA4A2. I'm only saying to go with that one because that is the one I used and it gave me the cool effect. If you differ the color even a little bit, you do get a different effect. So yeah, just go with this color for now. You can always change it like the second time round, and then go to bevel and emboss. And for this one, we're not doing anything super complex, so keep the size quite small, and you can turn down the shadows a little bit if you want. I'm just going to leave my shadows like somewhere in the middle. With the highlights or like the shading angle, you can go personal preference with that too. Just basically pick two edges that look nice and shiny when you do it. So you've got two edges that have highlights here and two edges that have shadows here. When I use that kind of like harsh angle, 35 degrees, leave it on inner bevel and leave it as smooth. Go all the way in with depth and don't soften really, because it's just going to ruin it. From there, come down to stroke, and just, mine's already set up here, but you can just add like a nice red to orange somewhere around the bottom of the color spectrum. Color on your stroke, and then just choose like something quite subtle. You can go outside or inside, it's totally up to you. Feels a little bit weird me like just if I keep saying your stroke, like I don't know, it feels a little bit weird. So yeah, with your outline, you can go inside or outside. It's up to you. I'm going to go inside by 6 pixels, blend mode normal, opacity 100%, and color just basically absolute red for mine. And the last thing you are going to apply is an outer glow, but keep it really subtle. Keep the opacity at around 50%. Make the outer glow color 100% white. Yeah, this will all remain editable after, so don't worry about this too much. Once you've got something similar to mine, just press OK. Bear in mind that depending on your document size, that process might have been different for you. I should have said at the start, I'm working in 2160 by 2160. So if you were working in 1080, for example, some of those scales that I was using, like size-wise and stuff for the outline or the bevel, they may have differed for you a little bit. So yeah, just change your document size to match mine if you want to copy my settings. Next thing, I'll just check these on the other logos, because I've applied it to the group, so it's going to apply them to everything in the group just for me to more easily like swap the logos in and out later on. All I would say is just make sure you scale your logo so that it's not touching the sides of the image basically, but I already did that at the beginning. From here, it's up to you whether you want to save it as a PNG or a JPEG. I'm going to go for a JPEG, so I'm going to go save as copy, and then wherever you save it, I'm just going to name mine typography because I'm going to reuse, I've already used the PNG version of that, but yeah, I'm going to reuse the file name later on to just swap text in and out, because I'm only doing this for this video, so I don't really care about keeping any of mine. If you want to keep yours, just give them like whatever file names you like. Once you've saved your typography, just come and open up Glitch Machine. But today, when this video goes up, there will be a new Glitch Machine version sent out for April. It's completely free, so don't worry. Like if you have any previous version of Glitch Machine, you'll be getting this by email. Just check your email if you haven't downloaded this yet. The setup and everything still remains exactly the same, and just open the April update that'll be marked as V0424. I'm just opening mine now. So once it's loaded up, you'll see just normal Glitch Machine artwork. Yeah, there are some big changes in the April update, but because this video is just going to focus on the Cyberpunk type effect, I'm not going to go over the new changes like in detail today, but you'll notice that there are some blue layers that are here now that weren't here before. The blue layers are the new effects. So there's also this yellow one that's yellow because I'm like still working on it, but I thought I would throw it in there just for people to mess with. But first things first is come to the Your Artwork Here tab and then just drag in your typography file that you just saved. I'll just find mine. So yeah, just drag and drop into the Your Artwork Here file and your typography will appear. So come back to the main Glitch Machine tab and it'll update. You'll notice this looks nothing like what we're aiming for, and that's fine, don't worry. Using the new effects that I've added, you've essentially got the right combination here to generate the effect. First thing we're going to do is change the pixel slash downscale effect off of the alternative one and back onto the standard pixel slash downscale effect, and then come into the effects controls for this one, and where it says grid spacing, just change that to 2. And then up here, the first blue layer that appears is called complex noise. Just enable that. Then you'll see that there is a new CRT screen texture instance. Enable that as well, and then enable the contrast adjustment, enable the sharpen glow, the glitch grain, and the light channel glow. So basically all of the blue layers. Just waiting for mine to load. And right here you can see you've kind of got the beginnings of the effect. So come down now to your pre-glitch adjustment, and let me just sort of expand this so I can show you it properly. Grab this lever on the right of the histogram and just pull it down. I'm not going to give you an exact like point on the histogram to leave it at, because you're just going to sort of find the sweet spot that you are happy with. So once you have enabled the blue layers, just for reference, like top to bottom, what I've got turned on here is the your artwork here file, pre-glitch adjustment, the subtle screen flicker, the pixel slash downscale effect, complex noise, CRT screen texture, contrast adjustment, glow, sharpen glow, glitch grain, light channel glow, scanline blend, distortion displacement, screen light leaks, scan displacement, CRT screen overlays, glow, image bloom, and light sweep. Those are the effects I've got applied. Sorry for the mouthful, but I just thought, yeah, I should list them. And then come into your first instance of the glow effect and change color A and color B to be red, or you can go like orangey too if you want, but yeah, I can try that actually. If that didn't do anything, don't worry. Just make sure your glow colors are set to A and B colors, and then come up to the second glow instance, and again just set to A and B colors, and then change to red or some kind of reddy orange. So now with both of these glow effects, you are going to be messing with the glow threshold here. So I'm going to start at the first glow instance, which is layer 18, and just turn the glow threshold down. I'm going to go 75, turn it down a little bit more to 61. You'll see the redness like starting to come up on the edges of the text. That's a little bit too much, so I'm going to go like 72. At this point, I am just going to go back into my original PSD file and just turn up the glow that I added a little bit up in size, and then about the same as I had before in opacity. Just going to save and overwrite the typography file that I created before. As always, getting the effect that you actually want out of this, it does involve trial and error. So there we go. So now we've started to generate this sort of multicolored, dithered like glow effect around the edges of the typography, which is exactly what we wanted. And from this point, it's just a case of controlling the strength of that effect and tinting it to the color that you want. If you come back into the your artwork here file, right click in this empty space and go new adjustment layer, and in your effects and presets tab here, if you don't have this by the way, just come up to a window and click on effects and presets. Just drag in a hue and saturation layer, just type in hue in the search and it'll come up. And then if you come to the properties for the adjustment layer, I think I've cropped out the screen, so here it is. If you come to the properties section, again just go window properties if you don't have that, and turn the opacity of the adjustment layer down to 50%, tick colorize, turn the saturation up until, not until it's like overwhelmingly red, but I'm gonna, if I go to like between 40 and 50 for mine, and that's tinted the glow red. We don't really care about tinting this middle sort of section red, but it's tinted the glow red. Of course, if you're more comfortable in Photoshop, you can go back into Photoshop and tint the glow in there, but it's just an easier way of doing it. And then come back into your glitch machine window, wait for it to load, and now the dithery sort of outer glow noise effect has been tinted red. If you preferred, I don't know, let's go green, or like maybe we'll, yeah, let's go like yellow for actual Cyberpunk. We'll go like piss yellow, which I don't think is going to look very good, but okay, I'm waiting for piss yellow to load now. Yeah, it looks awful. So I'm going to stick to red. I don't know why I did that. I don't even know if that might not make it into the video. But yeah, I'm going to stick to red. And then, yeah, at this point, if you come down to the pre-glitch adjustment, I'm losing my words now. I've been talking for too long. So come down to the pre-glitch adjustment, and now you can use these levers to control the strength of the effect. So if you pull this lever all the way out, yeah, you can basically mess with these levers to like control how strong the effect is on the outside of the text or the inside on the histogram. So obviously this looks awful, but yeah, like you get the point. I would recommend using this to control it over going back into Photoshop and making changes in there and stuff. Once you are happy like with how the effect looks, so for me, to be honest, I would just like to thin out some of these bits here, like where they're like between the Y and the B, and I might prefer it a little bit if these lines went up a little bit further. In the new April update, you've got this image bloom layer. I might be about to break the whole thing, but I'm pretty sure if I just pull this image bloom layer underneath the complex noise layer, that'll give me what I want. So let's see. A little bit, kind of, yeah, a little bit. I'm gonna come back down to the pre-glitch adjustment and just sort of mess with this a little bit more until I'm happy with it. The thing about recording this, rather than just doing it like how I would be doing it if I was just like on my own, not recording or whatever, is that I have to keep the thing really zoomed in, because if I work on it like this, you can't really see that. So I can't, it's like frustrating because I can't see the whole image kind of thing. Yeah, it's besides the point. I'm gonna go into the image bloom and just change the bloom threshold a little bit so that we're getting sort of more bloom. Then I'm gonna come back into glitch machine. Hopefully that worked. It kind of did, but to be honest, what I'm going to do is, rather than like getting this perfect, I feel as though that those few like options I've showed you there that covers like a good few different ways to control the effect. Let me just get this to a point where I'm at least happy showing it like in the thumbnail. All I'm doing, right, the only bits I'm going to cut are where I'm messing with this levels adjustment layer, which is just the pre-glitch adjustment. So if something changes and I've cut the change, that's all I've done. So yeah, it's just so you're not sat watching me click, wait for it to load, click, wait for it to load, etc. over and over again. If you want to put your image bloom back, by the way, it just goes above the glow layer and below the light sweep layer. So I'm just gonna put mine back just for the sake of me and you watching this having hopefully the same effect. So yeah, just so we're not here all day, I'm gonna go with that. And now I'm gonna go back into Photoshop and let me just try this on, let's try it on the samurai logo. Now I am not confident that this is gonna look good, but I want to prove that this looks good on more than just the Cyberpunk logo. So I'm gonna try it on this. Now I think I've covered this before, but After Effects is file dependent. So if I save mine as typography, and if I just replace the typography file by overwriting it, After Effects will update Glitch Machine automatically for me, so I won't have to re-drag anything in or whatever. Just useful if you're more comfortable in Photoshop and you want to make your changes in Photoshop. That's just like useful to know. Yeah, let's see if this looks any good. So it imports into here. Okay, cool. I can't talk. I'm like pleasantly surprised, to be honest, with how good that looks. So now really the only final touch that I have in my version that you won't have in your version is I used an asset from a pack called Lens Flare Kit, which has these nice like falling animated lens flares. I don't know if I admit this on camera, I'll have to finish it. So I'm working on an update for Glitch Machine that isn't the April one. So April one will be done by the time that you see this video. Maybe like a summer update or one of the final updates for Glitch Machine, because the last update will be in October. It's basically an asset pack of files, like other animations that I've made that you can drag and drop into Glitch Machine. So a good example of an asset that will be included in that update is this layer style that we created at the start, so that you can like throw things together quicker. And it's basically just some assets that are like complementary for Glitch Machine. When I say complementary, I don't mean free. They are a free update, but what I mean is that they would work well with Glitch Machine. So yeah, I will put one of those animations in that update, and maybe I will cover how to make a similar animation yourself in a different video, just because I am aware that these two videos are quite long now, and my brain is like fried slightly But yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out actually. The only other thing that I've not mentioned this far, and it's not like a completely necessary like part of the effect, but you can also enable the chromatic aberration. Just waiting for this to update now. So obviously we've tinted our type red here, but if you go into the editable chromatic aberration file now, you'll see that there are still blue values and green values to be sort of shifted out of place. So if you use these sliders that I created on each channel, then you can create a little subtle chromatic aberration on your logo that will it does, if I remember right, like work quite well with this effect. So yeah, just customize that as much as you want. It helps to zoom in while you're changing these sliders so that you can see what you're doing, because while zoomed out, like, it's not all that clear. But what this does is essentially the noise pattern that I generated for this update, the one that says complex noise, the noise pattern, like, it did take a while to get because I did it like it's basically the similar to the clumped noise in Photoshop, except it's animated. So yeah, what this is essentially doing is it's gonna filter your chromatic aberration through the individual sort of bits of the noise, and that's why it looks kind of dithered. Obviously it's not actually dithering, but if you've watched my dithering video, you will know that dithering applies a complex noise on top of your work or on top of an image to create the pattern that we call dithering. So yeah, I tried to sort of like replicate a similar thing. If I go back into Glitch Machine now, I've enabled the aberration. Just wait for that to render. A little bit overexposed now I've added that, so I'll just edit the pre-glitch adjustment a little bit. So now when you zoom in, you can see this nice like this bit here, which I fucking love. Like, just tickles my brain when I see stuff like this. So yeah, that about covers it. Other than what I have spoke about today, you can use all your other edits that you would normally do in Glitch Machine. I don't know why it's disappeared now. Maybe my recording's about to crash, hopefully not. But yeah, you can use all your other normal edits that you would edit in Glitch Machine. It came back now, so that's fine. This video might have been a little bit chaotic, but this I didn't script this. I've rebuilt this like from memory for this. So this was attempt 3. You might not be able to tell, but this was attempt 3. I fucked it up twice. The bit that you will fuck up if you do fuck up on, the bit where I fucked up, is the layer style. This is like a weirdly specific layer style that you need to use to get this effect. So actually what I will do is I will export this right now, and if it's not in the Glitch Machine files that you get, I will put it in a Dropbox link in the comments on the video. So like I said, if this video was a little bit more chaotic than usual, that's why. I usually use a script and I usually plan everything out because I am very awkward on camera. I think I've covered everything. Hopefully I have. I'll show my outcomes on screen now in nice rendered high quality detail. As always, thank you, genuinely thank you so much if you support Glitch Machine. I really appreciate it. Like, you have no idea how much this helps. I think I mentioned in the last Glitch Machine video that like my cat basically would have died without Glitch Machine money. So yeah, if you support Glitch Machine, genuinely, not only are you supporting something I love working on, you've really helped me in my life too. I'm gonna stop yapping now. Yeah, thanks for watching, and subscribe and like the video, buy Glitch Machine, and play Cyberpunk, and I'll see you in the next one.